And when people talk about saying, well, why should we do music? My kid's not going to be a musician when they grow up.
For me as an arts educator and arts advocate, my work must be practical work. And so for me, I've always been grounded in a feeling of obligation to make art feel relevant and useful to our community.
I mean, I hope you guys are as impressed as I am how intelligent and articulate and altruistic they are. I mean, they're helping kids, they're keeping indigenous music alive and spreading it out to the world. I'm just some knucklehead from Woodridge who's selling beer and cereal and televisions and cigarettes. So it's a tough act to follow. But the secret is, I did it pretty good, and I have a little thing, I believe, a secret that I learned in art classes that will help any of your knuckleheads do it pretty good. All you parents here. And why it's real important that art is part of what they do.
You know, to look back at my life and see this life as sort of this high-level manager and really try to figure out why someone like me with no formal business training could be successful in an area like this. As I worked at Microsoft, my passion for music never waned.
A lot. I think that a lot as when I'm working with kids that I don't think Beethoven's great unless I've convinced a kid that Beethoven's great. I don't think that, you know, the didgeridoo is important unless I can explain and help a kid understand why that is. And so, to me, that's the practical part of living in a small community, is how do you take things that you believe are important and how do you try to make a difference with the kids you work with, and how do you try to connect with them.
And when people talk about saying, well, why should we do music? My kid's not going to be a musician when they grow up. She says, okay, raise all the mathematicians, raise your hands. Well, if you're not mathematicians, why in the heck did you take math all through school? Why do we insist that the only reason to take art or music is to become Yehudi Menuhin or Pablo Picasso? That's a crazy way to look at this.
I don't want to at all denigrate math and science. That's terrific. And the hard sciences and the hard knowledge that leads to certain answers. But the other side of that world is about uncertainty. And what art gives us are survival skills for that side of the universe. When what has worked doesn't work anymore. It encourages you to look inside yourself as a student and find that little spark of originality. When you get that assignment and you're looking at a blank computer screen or a blank page, where does your idea come from? This art class trains you to think of something new, to find it within you, a little piece of you, to take that little spark and fan it into a flame, and then to hold that flame up to show to others, and then something else happens in the world today. Others say, I'm not so sure that's great, or that's right, or that's bright. You need the courage and the belief and the faith in that original idea to say, no, it is right. I can't quantify why it's right, but I can tell you it's right because it just feels right. That's a great instinct to have, and it's a very difficult one to foster unless you give kids the opportunity to do that, to play with, give me an idea, let's see what it is, let's help grow it, and let's help you stand behind it.
And to me, that's what art does, is it opens up people's hearts, it makes them feel passionate, and if they feel passionate, they'll find a meaningful life, a life that can inspire them. And when a kid, just for a moment, they don't need to have, when you experience a great moment, that becomes your benchmark for your existence. And when we use the arts as that tool, if they know what it means to be happy, if they know what it means to have joy, if they know what it means to work collaboratively with people and working in a way that they're making something better, they're making something more beautiful, they're making something that is expressive, then those are the standards that they will choose to live by for the rest of their lives. And those are the people that I want to be with in my community, in Sitka. and my greater community, Alaska. And I think it'd be a gosh darn better world if that community just kept radiating out.
What you have to realize is music on its own is a beautiful, gorgeous, soulful thing that humans need. But music and the training that goes into becoming a musician can help you do whatever you want in life. And I mean that. I wrote an article a while back, said everything I needed to know about working at Microsoft I learned in the conservatory. And I mean that. Let me tell you a list of everything Microsoft wants, or Intel wants, or anybody wants in an employee. They want somebody who's self-focused and self-motivated. They want someone who's collaborative. They want somebody who's agile and can adapt to different circumstances. They want somebody who can innovate and improvise. They want somebody who can listen, follow instruction. They want somebody who can articulate a vision to tell an audience, whether it's one person or 10,000, what's so important about your big idea.
That's what happens when you look, instead of bottom lines, you look at what people care about, and you think about what is it that drives people fundamentally and intrinsically, and how can you tap into that. And for us, we tapped into it with our kids, and then we used the same tool. The same tool that we learned from art became an impressive tool to use with, we call them grown-ups in my business.
Here's my pithy little phrase for the night. Art is gym class for our souls. Nobody questions the importance of gym class for our muscles physically. Art class gives us the muscle to dream and the strength to take those little sparks within us and hold them up, and the perseverance to not let them die under the assault that others will inevitably bring. That is something, whether you're an artist or an ad man or anybody in business today, they want you to be that person. They want you to come up with that idea in your group, in your team, and have the courage to say, it's right because I feel it's right. We haven't done it before. Nobody's done it before. That's the definition of an original idea. Nobody's done it before. Business is obsessed with evaluating ideas based on how they compare to things other people have already done. They spend millions on research and advertising to compare it to the norm, the category norms. Why? It should be brand new. It should be completely different. The courage to do that is what your kids are learning in class today.